Should be here now. All right, wonderful. Let's take a quick break. Watch something wholesome. And hopefully I can get myself a little larger on the screen to avoid any potential copyright. If this happens to be something we find enjoyable enough that we can keep it on the channel, take it over to our chill channel or something. For now, here we go. Oh, how nice. Ah. P included, apparently. To be fair, I mean, hey, do it. Oh. All right. Well, I mean, I guess give my little thoughts before we go on there. Of course, I think that this is amazing for him, wonderful for him, absolutely a gorgeous and glorious moment. But like, it seemed like at first she was just being nice about it, and just comforting you, make sure that you know. And then she took you back to her place. Which one, first off, either she's like a very outgoing person, and that's nice of her as well, or two, wow, wow, there might be something else to it. Who knows? I can't speculate. Can't give you nothing else. But I'm saying, like, it's so nice of her to see what's going on with you and be like, okay, are you still okay? Are you doing all right? How can I help? And then she went to proceed to help, and she made sure that he knew it was okay. Even at the end of the whole date situation, she said, It was a wonderful time. Let's repeat it again. This man's a real catch anyway, and like that's the one thing. Also, separate. I'm gonna finish that first thought first. He's a real catch, or she's a real catch, or they're both just amazing people and good for each other. They're young, so you can understand a little bit more. I feel like a person. I couldn't see somebody a little older than me, or mid 30s something, just putting up with the same thing. I think they should be able to understand more. But I think most of the time online, because we probably see more of the polarized people online, but I would see people be like, "No, is he dating a man child? He hasn't been able to wean himself off of using the bathroom in public. I mean, come on, you kick him out." And I think there's more to life, and also much better times if you are understanding the situations. Medical conditions are medical conditions, and I've met my second thought, which is coming out now, is that I met plenty of women who have a similar. It's not a condition for them, but it's like a mindset that I guess women are trained into in this current society, where being more shameful and cognizant of your bodily functions makes it so that people don't usually use the bathroom out and about in public places. It's a common thing that people talk about public restrooms and their grossness and why they don't want to use them at all. So I think it's something easier for her to understand in general, because whether it's the state of the bathroom or just the shyness of yourself in general and your mental your hormones or anything else that are kicking in that can affect this thing. It's something I think that she's more likely to understand in general, because of just the culture around body and how you use it. So she'd understand what it's like to not want to go somewhere, though she probably doesn't understand like on a chemical level what it's like to not be able to. Though I think it's also more likely a thing for women when they aren't able to, when they're like constipated or quite chronically or clinically even. So hey, maybe she's got something going on too. Maybe she just understands you in a better way, and that's wonderful. I'm glad that you found somebody that helped him out, understands and is supportive and wants to learn more about it. That's how you know that person's really interested in you. If not, well, this is at the very least a very wholesome and very um, helpful story for her in the future and for him in the future, to know what it's like to have somebody that's supporting you in a relationship, or even like just a situationship, wherever it goes, no matter what. To have somebody that's supportive and not judgmental, that's what you have to keep looking for in this world, right? So he found something great. And I hope you find something great too. Something like that. If you're out somebody that supported you in a situation where you didn't think you'd be supported, let me know. Throw it in the comments, throw it in the chat, whatever. Let's discuss that with you guys. We're just hanging out, being ourselves, and it's great when you find somebody else that can do that with you. So let's see what Dustin's got to say about this. And move on to the next story. I think he's got, what, 3 of them here? What did he say? Looks like 3 of them. Yep, looks like it. Is it 4? I think 3. I kind of want to just skip on through that. I think we're going to skip on through that. Yeah, because he starts doing an ad at the right point there. Let's hit the next one, yeah? Let's hit the next one. I think we're going to close this one up at around like 9 or something. It's better. Let's see. I'm not sure you want to do that necessarily. Hmm. Hmm. Oh no. Yeah, I believe it. We can see it. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, before we go on to the next one, or I guess the final story for the time, I guess I do have a question slash comment on it. I guess not about that situation entirely, but it's separately yet related tangentially about how bridesmaids and weddings are typically formed and planned. So mostly, she wanted to bring in her niece, who's like 15 years old, to this planning thing. To me, because she thought it would be a good idea to bond the two of them and get to know her for all that stuff. Is that really something that you consider when you want to create like a bridal party? 'Cause to me, I think it's more about having people that will help you plan and be able to take action and take things off you, like people that you know and trust who can come in, do the work for you and with you, and help you get things ready and see a vision with you. Not like people you have to then form your bonds with before you're able to continue planning those things, right? To me, it seems like it's not exactly the kind of thing you want to be intensely bonding over because it's a lot of work to get all the paperwork, to get all the conversations, to get every detail correct and have everybody on the same page, how you're going to do it all, and just lining it all up day in, day out for not like necessarily day in, day out, but like all hands on deck for a long period of time while you're planning this thing. I think that's an intense situation to be put in. And while that can bond somebody, it could easily go the other way, in my opinion. But I think she made a good choice to show that she supports the niece in these situations. And so maybe that is one of the reasons why it became such a thing that could bond the two of them together, you know? But I think generally, I'm curious. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments or whatever else if you talk about it. But like, is that really what bridal parties are about? Is that something that people consider? Something that you want to grow closer to? Because I thought that it was mostly supposed to be for people you were already close with, or had the potential to become very close with as well, without much effort. Because I think there's a lot of politics in my brain. There's always been a lot of politics that go into planning weddings, figuring out what kind of guests you want to bring, who you want to invite, who they can, if they can bring plus ones, if you can get this certain type of food and bring it in, who you can ask to fund things, how you're gonna plan it all out, all that stuff going into it. I think there's a lot more political movement and social interaction going on there than just yeah, we could do this thing together. It'd be fun. I think as much as people want to be fun, it ends up being that kind of chorey situation when you're planning big weddings or whatever else. I'm not really doing one of those as far as I know, but for those of you that would do and that have, let me know what you think. I don't know. But I think she's a great person who's looking out for that niece, and I'm glad that she has somebody like that in her life. Again, a nice, wholesome situation to come into. A beautiful one. When you find people like that who care about you and like you for who you are, and at least what you're portraying to be who you are and who you want to be, that they can see that, they can accept that, and they can support you on your way to becoming that or expressing that, that's good. Those are people you should keep around. You know, this niece. I hope she got a lot closer to OP. You know, I hope she did. It means a lot. It always means a lot. People like that in your life, they don't leave your mind. And if they don't continue to be in your life, well, again, much like the previous one, these are good examples of relationships you should have in your life that you can look at and be like, oh, well, I had somebody that cared about me like that before. This is who I'm looking for in my life. And you can see that and you can hopefully cultivate those relationships in the future. Now let's see what the final one is. Call my boyfriend smart and he cried. Sounds wholesome enough. All right. Oh yeah. I'd say your father-in-law the same way. Oh god. Yeah, it was amazing. Anyway, that was some of our wholesome Reddit stories about green flag humans. Always nice to see. Now let's talk about the final one, of course, before we wrap on up here for the day, or I guess for the night. Still, oh, there's an ad break going on. That's a shame, but we'll talk about it for a little bit. Now, as a fellow ADHD haver, I would say ADD more so. I don't necessarily have those hyper active moments where I'm bouncing off the walls and or intensely focused on something as much. But I do understand, and that is something that I had to understand about this situation and the diagnoses. That it doesn't mean that you are incapable of anything that is like intellectually based, because what you're showing in those moments, like she was pointing out, and I'm glad she did, because that's something that people need to hear in the first place. The ability that you have to search something out there, to look it up, to find out how to research it, to learn about it, to find out good sources for it, if you do, and I'm assuming he does, because it seems like he does, and to retain that information and be able to recall it, even when he's no longer as interested in the topic, which I'm assuming he's going to do at some point. I'm sure he's still recalling the information and bringing it back to her to be able to explain it to her in a way she understands, and that she understands that he understands. Right? That's another one of the difficult things. That's what people always tell you to explain things to others in simple ways, because it shows that you understand it. And if they can understand what you're teaching them, they know that you're truly getting it. To get that level of mastery of a topic that you're interested in at any point is a feat of intellectual ability. It shows that you're smart, shows that you're capable, and you can learn. The desire to learn, to grow, to extend your knowledge into an area that you are now interested in. The fact that you become interested in something else that is not necessarily related to what you've been doing this whole time, and that you can pursue it. That is something that is intellectual in nature. That's not exactly the same things that we're testing for in schools, which is what sucks about them. But the fact that it's there and that you're able to show it, that's what the impressive thing is. To know that you have that part of you, that you are able to study, to learn, to seek out knowledge on something that's interesting to you, and to retain it and to absorb it, to be able to explain it to somebody else. That is a joy that is unique to the experience of like an academic ADHD person, I guess. So when we're in school, though, that's not what's being reinforced. Of course, it's less about how well you're able to learn and to regurgitate the things, more about the metrics you have to hit, and then like the regurgitation in formula in a way that they want you to have it there. That's why it's always great when your different professors or teachers see those students and they're like, no, we understand that they just have like ADHD or something. At this point, they're able to help point it out, help you get help, or anything else like that. If there needs to be something that can help you to get to the academic success that they see and that they need for the schools and that they're trying to teach other people to grasp, if they notice that kind of intellectual ability you have, it's great when they act on that. And so I was fortunate enough to have some people like that in my high school, like a renowned mathematician there who was able to see how smart we were. By we, I mean both my older brother and I, because we both had him for a teacher. And I think he even had some of my older brothers than that, because he's been there for a while. But either way, he might have known them. It doesn't matter. He was able to see that type of stuff, and so he'd be able to take us aside, and be like, "Hey, you ever thought about this problem? How about this equation?" And then we'd be able to make some other people in the class who would be looking at that type of stuff too. We'd be able to see us little gifted type students checking out something interesting. It might not be what we were looking at in class there, but now we have something else to focus on that we want to learn about. That we want to go seek out and figure out how to do this for ourselves, and stuff like that is what keeps you grounded and engaged for the rest of the sessions that are more mainstream class, right? Um, because that is something there. You have your passion, you're able to express it in some way, and then you can find a way to tie it back into the mainstream curriculum. And then it all starts fitting together as well. Helps you get those grades going, helps you get everything else. But people haven't really focused on that type of teaching and learning. It's more so to sit down, shut up, listen to me, talk about this thing, regurgitate to me later, write down the notes on it, and then figure out how to apply that formula to more things that I'm talking about that I already decided. And if you don't get that, then you're all wrong. So it's harder to notice because it's not exactly the most practical things. The things you can teach people aren't always the most practical things. So bringing some of that stuff out there, or even side things they can check out and investigate, can really help out the students inside of your classroom. But it's not for everybody, of course, and it did work for me. It did work for some people like me, some people in my classes. I can't say it's a method that people should be going for all the time, and maybe even like a primary method for your teaching, but it's something to keep in mind. And so when someone like this girl who notices how your brain works and how fascinating that is, how interesting that is, and how much intellect you have to employ to get to those stages, and each time you're interested in something else, how you're able to focus it on a new topic and learn about it. That is something that is a double edged sword. But people often neglect the positive aspect of that. The fact that you're able to do it, that you're able to focus, that you're able to learn. That is an amazing thing. It's a gift. Much in the ways that people are now bringing up the positive aspects of autism, and in the ways that they're able to connect things and find patterns in their brains, of course. Um, it's similar for like ADHD, and people don't always bring that up as well. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's a curse. It's whatever else. Much like anything else that we do, evolution is crazy, and it's provided us all these different avenues. But find somebody that finds these positive ones and brings them to your mind, gasses you up, lets you know how great you are in those situations, and then they can also help you, if you need to, flow into other areas in a calm way, in a nice way that's not telling you that you're wrong because you're not doing it the way that everybody else is doing it in class, that you're not stupid because you're not able to apply in the same way that they are without as much critical thought or anything else like that. I don't want to like read into what this guy could be going through, because I know what I've gone through, and as I was kind of bringing up there a little bit, it's less about your inner thoughts there, but being yourself and being able to express those types of intellectual interests and curiosities, and to find someone that appreciates that is amazing. If you can be that for somebody else, please do. Everybody needs that in their lives. And as I've been saying this whole time, if it's not what you take with you for the rest of your life, it's something that you will remember, that you want to bring back into your life. And you can seek that out. You know? If you aren't going to be there for somebody all the time, leave them with something positive. That's my whole point. Leave them with a positive thing that they can take into their life and take with them forward from then on out, to help them grow and become better. As you, as a person, grow and become better because of how you're able to express yourself and help other people. It's important to me that that's what we try to do here as a community, at least as a people, as a speech and whatever you want to call yourselves, my little yindings. It's been good having you. And as I leave you out there, I want to leave you every day and every moment with the three things, of course, as always. Remember that you're beautiful, you're special, and you're worthy of love. And I personally, I'm always looking forward to seeing you here next time. Have a good night. Have a good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Goodbye. Bye bye.